time to get things rolling as we move on to Game 4 with FlyQuest versus Counter Logic Gaming. And if you want your stream views to earn you more, make sure you're racking up in-game content by logging in and watching at watch.lolesports.com. Zyrene, do you have your icon?
Yes.
Let's take a dive into the starting lineup. Selecting blue side, it is FlyQuest. In the top lane, Viper. In the jungle, Santorin. Mid, Pobelter. Bot, WildTurtle. Support, JayJ. And coach, Invert.
And challenging them on the red side, it's Counter Logic Gaming. In the top lane, they're starting Darshan today, as well as jungler Wiggily, with mid PowerOfEvil, bot Stixxay, support Biofrost, and coach Weldon.
And Counter Logic Gaming came off a disappointing week 1, really highlighted by roster experimentation that didn't deliver very clear answers.
And this week, we get less answers and even more questions with them running Wiggily and Darshan. As an aside, personally, I believe that this is probably the best combination for CLG. They've already run these two in the past last split, which resulted in a clear win for them, and they're hoping to reproduce that result today, and putting Darshan back in, who was the former captain of the team after Afromu left, really would put a voice to kind of align everybody. And when you are swapping people around, having a unified voice is what you need for CLG.
Well, we'll see if they can find some success versus the league's biggest surprise here in week 1, FlyQuest.
And these wins didn't come from just lucky snowballs either, as they were actually behind in both of their early games. Instead, FlyQuest brought those games back off of looking like the most coordinated team fighting team that we had seen in week 1. And a lot of that was due to Pobelter and Santorin, who were in top shape with some great flanks and great plays to kind of round everything out in those fights.
And the FlyQuest system certainly seems to be paying off well. Last split, they had a very similar identity where you couldn't point to one particular star or one or two particular players that were really taking over every game. But when it came to the mid and late game, shot calling towards those base races, coordinating those team fights, FlyQuest looked like one of the best in the business.
Yeah.
So see if they continue against CLG, who, by all accounts, should continue to look a little uncoordinated as they work things out.
Yeah, CLG, the thing that they have going for them in this game, in my opinion, is putting Darshan back in the top lane. Sure, he hasn't been looking too great recently, but he's up against Viper in the top lane. Viper has only played 2 games on stage. Viper has just started his first split in the NALCS. Darshan is starting his 13th split. He has been here since the first split of the LCS. He's one of only, I believe, 3 players to have played every single split in NA. So the experience that he brings to the table, if they're able to pressure Viper down with Wiggily, who looked like he was camping for Fallen Bandit top lane last time, and the fact they're on red side again, may mean that Wiggily takes a level 2 jungler. They pressure the top side of the map because that's where red is for red side, and you go ahead and try to get things off for Darshan early on.
We also did see Wiggily on that Camille. That was his game that he's played so far in the LCS this year. Look to try and set up PowerOfEvil, who is the kind of player that can take over games when he's given the space and resources to do so. So in general, I liked Wigglily's proactivity. That's kind of why I'm with you on CLG. In their current iteration, this seems like one of the best feat to put forward. But we'll see what happens here in Champ Select, of course, as we are moving our way into the draft very shortly.
Yep, and you know, CLG starting off 0-2 and coming off of the worst year that the organization has had in their history. So right now, they need to take down FlyQuest, this team that has momentum and can start putting distance between themselves and Counter Logic Gaming in the standings, and have basically a 6-game difference between them, where you'd have to make that up. The 3 that FlyQuest have already, or the 2 that FlyQuest have already won, if you make it 3, they become very hard for CLG to kind of turn things around and catch. And I like that they banned the Camille right off the bat.
Yep.
Camille's actually a champion that was banned, first ban, pretty much, I would say, it was banned by 100 Thieves, and then it wasn't actually touched in the Cloud9 Golden Guardian series, but it was first banned by Echo Fox too, so it's something that's just popping up on some ban lists and not others.
Certainly a very potent weapon when utilized well, so Camille will join Lucian and Lissandra as FlyQuest's first 3 bans. There's Cassio and Urgot. Some pretty standard stuff there from CLG, and you called it, there's a Kali taken away as well.
Aatrox is probably what will get picked up here, unless you are like an Ezreal favorer. I would say the Aatrox, the flex pick ability of it, is something that you would really want here for FlyQuest, since it can go mid and it can go top. We'll see what they lock in.
Viper, of course, just playing around, but there is the Aatrox lock-in you expected. Have seen, again, a lot of different positions for this champion, so a fine first pick. You know, Aatrox is a little bit weaker than he was earlier on 9.1.
Yeah, not by too much, though. He's still very comparable. It just means he was just that powerful before. And we'll see what they end up locking in here for Counter Logic Gaming. They could take pretty relatively safe picks here, like a jungler and the Ezreal, which with the Lucian banned away, yeah, even Doublelift was saying probably was expecting the Ezreal to come out from Bang last game, especially alongside Braum. But that was not seen there, and now we're seeing it here for Stixxay.
Makes sense. Seems like Stixxay says, pick me Ezreal. The team obliges. Stixxay, of course, the other big carry next to PowerOfEvil there in mid lane. As Wiggily does want an aggressive jungler and will be gifted it here. It does take Zhao.
Yeah, I was thinking about it. I was like, any other level 2 junglers that are amazing besides the Camille, Zhao's kind of the other one that jumps up in terms of meta picks. I wonder if, I don't know if he'll pick Jax here. Jax jungle can be seen. It can go to the top lane as well, so it has some flexibility power. And with Essence Reaver, could be really good, but I doubt it.
Well, they'll at least start by stealing the Braum away. By the looks of things, it is locked in by FlyQuest. So JayJ will be off on support duty this game. 20 seconds now for FlyQuest's third pick, though. See if they do fancy themselves the jungler. A lot of things to work with here. Again, also have to consider the bot side of the map with Ezreal taken away. Not too many prime AD carries left, if that's what they want to run there.
Oh, they pick the Draven into the Ezreal. Yep.
I like it. There's the Draven pairing with the Braum. And now kind of a challenge really thrown down to the bot lane by FlyQuest for CLG. Stixxay and Biofrost were kind of touted as maybe one of the better duo lanes up and coming.
Yeah.
But certainly have struggled since they've been joined together.
Yeah, they've kind of struggled so far this split. They haven't really been able to do much, and the game's been falling apart around them. Biofrost in particular is somebody who's now going to be on an anti-playmaker and trying to keep Stixxay safe during the laning phase, because now WildTurtle and JayJ, they have so much pressure with the Braum slows, the Draven speed-ups, and the fact that he can just do so much damage early on. The Ezreal doesn't have much to trade with except for poke, and sure, Ezreal does outscale later because of the W changes, but Draven during the lane phase, it's all about that. So right now, FlyQuest, they're going to want more. I think the Galio ban is smart because they want more that can go bottom lane and affect bottom lane. So you either want a shoving mid that can then assist, like the Galio, or you get a jungler that, like a Lee Sin or something that can help you dive early. Maybe the Sejuani too, but you want something that can win the matchups and have a winning jungle and bottom lane.
And there's a Fiora ban by FlyQuest after the Galio from CLG, so perhaps know something I don't. Clearly someone has been playing it if they're willing to take it away from, I assume, Darshan there in the top lane.
Yeah, because it may be they're going to try to go for something like a Sion. I don't know, but I think the Aatrox will probably flex up to the top side, and if he's comfortable playing the Fiora into that, then it would be a clear win for Darshan.
LeBlanc also been seeing a small surge in popularity on the patch, so will be taken off the board as well. See what FlyQuest do react with here. Definitely curious to see how the map pressure works out, because I think FlyQuest really have said we are likely going to play bot. There's Aurelia also banned away. So two good solo lane champions. Darshan has played top before, but are taken off the board as Stixxay hovers his favorite. Oh, not his favorite champion. There was some story.
Warwick is
something about Warwick and
the
Nessus.
the Warwick got reworked. The Sion looked like something that they were banning against, and Counterlogic Gamer just pick it up themselves.
So that is some open picks here. Again, Viper can play just about anything he wants, but Sion is a champion that we saw him be comfortable on already. It's kind of a great welcome to LCS champion in a lot of ways, because it is relatively straightforward. Pobelter, though, going to take something aggressive, as he does pick up the Syndra blind versus CLG. We'll see what PowerOfEvil has cooked up in the mid lane for any sort of counter pick, but of course FlyQuest need to take one more off the board here.
Yeah, CLG, they lock in the Sion because the Aatrox can still flex. You could put Viper on something magic damage top lane, like a Vladimir, so they make sure that they just lock in a tank for themselves, not something very aggressive, and assume it's the Aatrox matchup, and then the Syndra gets locked in, they'll counter pick mid here, and we'll see what it is. But there's the Lee Sin that we were expecting to be able to put pressure on the bottom side of the map, and they're going to have something that answers in terms of mid lane pressure, mid lane shove here from CLG's side.
Well, lots of options here for PowerOfEvil. He's never been one to shy away from just about any champion, but he will go for a revisit here on Orianna. This is a classic mid lane matchup that we've seen time and time again. Orianna not on everyone's radar right now, but that has never stopped PowerOfEvil.
Yeah, he didn't even build Nashor's Tooth last time either, though.
That was the problem.
He strayed away from that build, and he ended up having the Morellonomicon, the Deathcap, the Ludens, and just not having the same impact in the game. There was one fight where he could have had a good shockwave, didn't happen, but here with Wiggily as the potential ball delivery system, Darshan as well, they may find some more success here, but I like that PowerOfEvil was throwing ultimates out left and right, trying to make plays happen, because he has been an addition to this team that they're trying to have be a center of power from the mid lane.
Certainly a close look at the 2v2 between mid and jungle for this one. Wiggily kind of always felt like an aggressive player, even the LCS games he played on stage last year. Certainly showed a similar sort of style. As Invert conveys some last words here to the team as the coaches will exchange handshakes. FlyQuest, though, looking to be one of the other undefeated teams after 3 games. CLG fishing for win number 1.
Yep, CLG looking for that first one, but FlyQuest looking to continue that momentum that this team hasn't really ever seen before. FlyQuest, you know, when they first came into the LCS, there was one split where they were on top. They were looking like they were a playoff team, and they were. And then it was kind of downhill from there. WildTurtle, he's been with them pretty much the whole time. And now they're flying high at this 2-0 start, and they want to make it a 3-0. They don't want to drop to a wounded CLG.
CLG, on the other hand, at this point, any game is a bounce-back game, as, again, I have to say, the Rainy Day crowd really impressing me. Also, FlyQuest, shout out to them for escorting people with their green umbrellas through the rain.
It was really nice. Yeah, the FlyQuest guys were outside, not the team, but their staff was just walking people from the parking garage, the LCS, just keeping them safe.
Well, with that, before we get into it, we do have Ovally standing by with Invert to get a few words on the FlyQuest draft.
Thanks, guys. Invert FlyQuest had a great 2-0 start to the split last weekend. How happy was the team with their performance, and how is that affecting today?
Actually, we weren't happy at all. We thought our early game was really atrocious, both games last week. So we tried really hard to shore up our early game this week, get a lot better, get a lot more stable going into the mid and late game. And in doing so, actually give us a better chance to pull off those flanks and pull off those team fights that everyone knows and loves so far. So.
Well, thank you so much, and best of luck to you. Back to you guys.
Again, whatever system they're using seems to be working, and we'll have to see how the early game goes this time around.
I like how he said we weren't happy with it. I'm pretty sure he means I wasn't happy with it. Like, players are always like more or less happy with the wins, especially a 2-0 start. And I'm sure the coach is like, what were you doing early game? Stop it. And like trying to set his team up for success. So I like hearing that where they aren't kind of phoning it in saying, yeah, we're doing well is great. It's always looking at where you can improve.
Let's see, 2 powerhouse laners square off in the mid lane, only briefly.
It's the PoE versus the PoB in the mid lane.
Pitch consonant is better. Actually, one of them.
One's a vowel.
One's a vowel. I knew it. I knew that would happen.
To buy a vowel.
Me too, after that. Need to wait for some extra gold, though, as Turtle on Draven. That's a surprisingly high number of career Draven games, actually. 8-3 with almost a 4 KDA. It's pretty nice so far. And as you mentioned, Tahm Kench certainly the anti-playmaker in this lane, so Stixxay and Biofrost gonna just hang out for as long as they can.
It's funny that you say 8-3, like that's a lot of Draven games. I'm pretty sure WildTurtle is one of the 3 people that has played every single LCS split as well. Him and Darshan. So 11 of his games out of like 1,000 at this point.
Well, here's the level 2-ish gank from Wiggily. He's actually just driving by mid, seeing what's going on.
It's scuttle to scuttle. He's going from red to scuttle to scuttle.
Is spotted, but doesn't want crab superiority. We'll be able to grab it here.
Delicious crab meat for Wiggily.
Nutritious and delicious. And also it gives vision plus a bit of extra speed. So who wouldn't want it, as 70 gold also into Wigglily's pockets.
Actually, it gives you so much mana when you kill it. Like, if you're low and then you go and pick it up, it's like, it gives you like 3/4 back. Never actually like really thought about that too much with the, like, why does that one give you more mana?
I play mid lane, so people get upset when I take their crab. So unfortunately, I rarely get to experience the
I'll give it to you if you let me have blue buff.
I don't know about that. It's Turtle and JayJ continuing to play push up here in the lane, but Stixxay keeping it even. If they can kind of, again, keep it all nice and chilled out there on the bot side, that should be good. Wiggily, though, back towards his other side of the jungle, because Santorin has gone for an overextended look. PowerOfEvil looking for the Q, not going to land it as he ward hops away. And here's Darshan going to force the flash.
Wow, actually a really quick flash from Santorin. He may have been able to make it through, but I think he was worried about if Darshan flash E'd or anything like that to cut off his escape. I'm surprised that he didn't make a play bottom lane.
Biofrost also take a little too much damage. Poke back from Stixxay onto Turtle. Means the exchange isn't so bad, but Always tough when Draven Braum is just pushing you under your turret.
Yeah, which I was really scared of because we saw Wiggily go from red to scuttle to scuttle. They knew he was on the bottom side, FlyQuest did, and they still shoved. They could have been ganked there, but they're just saying that the Draven Braum 2v3 is probably still going to end up on top when the Zhao's level 2. So it's really bold for them to continue to do that. But I feel like he just knows the limits of the champion, and he would skirt around that fight and play it appropriately. And he has the Conqueror too, which really does help and assist those early, that early poke and gives you that extra AD.
Yeah, backup plan's not great either in the Draven Braum lane. You really do want to be applying as much pressure as you can. As Viper now in his 1v1 versus Darshan. Sion just, again, getting things pushing. Viper looking comfy so far, but don't expect too many fireworks without junglers here. Mid lane, though.
Auto attack battle!
PowerOfEvil. Getting those autos in. Orianna very good at winning those trades, and with the barrier and heal both up, mid laners will hold on to their summoners, but happy to exchange blows as they run their mana pools very low.
Yeah, out of potions. A jungler, calling for junglers. This is where it's like, I like to phone a friend. Can I get a Santorin or Wiggily to the mid lane? And they're both going to show up. They're both going to show up here at the same time because there's going to be a Scuttle Crab contest.
Going to have to be one-on-one, most likely. Pobelter is trying to play back towards Santorin, who is on top of a ward right now. Santorin, though, maybe looking to face check, does ward down. JayJ roamed up as well.
The bot lane priority, pushing away from the Scuttle Crab. Yep. So being able to play to that side and Scuttle Crab coming up there means he's going to have to seed it away. Santorin will pick that one up, and he has to go back to farming his jungle.
He would be also close to 6. If he can find a stun here on PowerOfEvil, might be able to convert, but again, barrier going to keep it very safe.
I like this, though, from FlyQuest. I feel like FlyQuest understand like kind of the codependency of the early game for League of Legends, where if your mid doesn't have priority, you need somebody else to come up. Bottom lane has a winning lane, so they're using that to go mid to kind of put that pressure away and predict what Wiggily will do. Look at Darshan up against Viper, though. He's getting really low. He might get a kill, but he's level 6.
Looking for at least the ultimate. Is forced to pop World Ender, knocked up, resurrects, and walks under the turret. Viper will have to burn the cooldown, but not so bad, all things considered.
Yeah, it's also that Darshan had TP'd back to the lane already, and Viper hasn't spent any of his gold. So he was chased down by the fact that there was Boots 2 on Darshan, so he's able to just keep up and keep getting those grass procs.
He's going to TP back to his turret, though, so swooping back in to collect this farm. Viper going to have to play it maybe a little further back with that cooldown not available for a short while, but should be okay as JayJ will sweep out this ward. FlyQuest perhaps looking for that nice early Ocean, always a boon to any laning phase.
Yeah, and the Lee Sin, since we've seen him kind of come back into professional play, able to solo that down, doesn't really need much assistance at all. And we'll just have the mid lane priority from the Pobelter come over and help him out a tiny bit. But Ocean Drake, the one that slows you, that's always the one that you never want to get caught doing, ever, because it takes you so long to get away from. So I do like this, that you shove and kind of help him out here just a tiny bit.
Also, again, have the 2v2 push in their favor, so FlyQuest covering all their bases, get a safe and secure early Ocean for themselves. Pobelter right on time to catch the wave.
This might be a top lane play, 3 men strong, because there's no ultimate from Viper. If Darshan is able to land an ulti or chase him down the lane and shove it, because Sion is very good at doing that. Literally all 4 of his abilities are AoE. You have no problem pushing the wave. They might go for a dive here onto Viper.
Yep, again, Darshan positioning. There's everyone over the top. Viper with the chains going down. Wiggily dives in first. Again, trying to chase it away, but Darshan uses the ulti to get out from under the turret. Wiggily, though, gets a little too low as Viper flashes out towards relative safety, but it's not enough at all as PowerOfEvil claims first blood.
And they might claim a plate here, too, give him a little bit more gold on top of that. And there's no TP on Viper. I bet they stay for 2, and that's going to pull Santorin up as well. Oh.
Looking for Wiggily. Did not find, and that is 2 plates for CLG. Also gets a visit from the Whirling Death, and also took a plate for himself by the looks of things. Turtle and JayJ continue to push up and pressure. Pobelter is working on that second plate, but Wiggily will be here long enough to cover it.
Oh, and Biofrost, I believe. Yeah, gotta get rid of that. He's gonna go for Pobelter with the Tongue Lash.
Still has ulti. There it is. Pulls it back. Tongue does connect, but Pobelter a little too far under his turret. Nice devour there from Biofrost. Going to protect PowerOfEvil from the follow-up damage too.
Oh, Biofrost actually didn't get any of his Relic Shield stacks to go off to help shove the wave faster. And they missed that control ward in the Pixel Brush too. So the Braum is just going to get rid of the Ghost Poro and give a little bit more pressure to him. But Pobelter right now is CSing with 14 up for himself.
Looking good. Similar story for top lane after that gank for Darshan versus Viper. As POB will collect the blue buff. Ulti back up, so probably not going to be pressured for too much longer. Although we'll see if Wiggily does continue to press the newest member of FlyQuest here in the top lane.
Yeah, and it's kind of forced Viper into a Black Cleaver build first. Some Aatrox get to go for the Yomus when they have Electrocute, and they get to go for just this burst of movement speed with lethality when you hit level 9 and just try to blow somebody up. It is very effective against squishies and makes it so that your damage is way higher with just a single item than you would expect, especially the third Q. But he has to go for the Black Cleaver here to just stay alive and shred the Sion's armor, which he'll probably stack in this game because the Syndra is the only magic damage dealer.
Well, as we check back in here with the bottom laner, I'm impressed that Stixxay is able to stay afloat. JayJ's kind of early roam. Some of that story perhaps, but able to CS pretty comfortably despite the consistent pushing of the minions in towards the turret. That does again though free up JayJ to pair up with Santorin once more. And get some vision down and try for these invades. Drake up in 2 minutes, but perhaps a camp up soon as well.
Just making sure that everything's clear. That's the thing, when you're sitting in lane and your AD carry shoves it to turret, there's always something better to do if he's going to play safe. Don't try a solo queue because your AD carry probably dies in that moment every single time. It just happens. You walk away for 2 seconds. But roaming in professional play, just to even see if they're there. If they're not there, you still gain information too, and you can save junglers on top side.
Also see that Pobelter's finished his first item, Eluden's done. Thanks in part to those extra turret plate gold that he picked up there in mid lane. PowerOfEvil though also needs to get a shop in, so he does have unspent gold ready, and Santorin, reading the situation, will start the Rift Herald.
Wigglily's on that side though too.
Curious.
Has a bit of a read on it.
Pee-wee also walking over. Hasn't spent, but still more enough presence in this fight. Viper forced to dash over the wall. Pobelter busy clearing the wave in mid. So PowerOfEvil will just escort the Rift Herald away and move back to the lane.
Yeah, and because POB cleared the mid first, he gets to go to the bottom side of the map and force them to back off. And this gives pressure. You can see Pobelter's just standing on control boards on the bottom side, and Stixxay and Biofrost have to back up and worry about potentially being engaged on or potentially being killed.
Really?
Now they know he's back mid.
Nice ult usage as well by Turtle. Again, just poking Stixxay away. Knows he doesn't have TP. Wants to try and get maybe some extra turret plate gold. And PowerOfEvil delaying his back. Now has his Ludens, but will lose some extra plate gold here as well. And despite having that first blood money, FlyQuest actually stacking up a decent little gold lead here.
Yeah, decent amount of that is off of the plates from mid and bot. You can kind of see the gold there too, especially in mid lane. Even though the kill did go over to PowerOfEvil, and remember, he got first blood too, so it's worth that 400 gold. But there's even more here in these plates. They're just going over because this early game from FlyQuest, heard Invert talking about it, where he's like, yeah, the early game needs to be a little bit better here for the team. So far, looking good for him.
Certainly doesn't mean you need to be diving under turrets, which is what I would think when I think of improved early game.
Is that really what you think?
Oh yeah. I cast LPL for like 4 years. That's exactly what I think. Santorin claims the Scuttle Crab there outside that Drake, which is back and ready for the taking. But again, a pretty steady game so far for FlyQuest, holding 1,000 gold ahead for themselves. Wiggily clearing out the Rift Herald ward though, and will want to start the objective.
Wow, okay. He's going to start it on the top side. Darshan has a little bit of priority there. He's shoving in Viper. But the thing is that JayJ is not going back to the bottom lane. JayJ is running straight towards this area with Pobelter, with Santorin. And they're going to check this slowly but surely.
Santorin, there's a W into the shockwave there. Signing and right in. Good ult there from JayJ. Stuns too, as Darshan is forced to break his stopwatch. Here's Viper going to force Darshan away with the flashes. Biofrost going to try and get him out from the Syndra ulti. Viper's also dove in there, but can't quite latch the chain. FlyQuest, they look for a kill, but they will at least stop the Rift Herald.
And that's a great roam from both supports. The fact that Biofrost was also in attendance there. JayJ with a great ultimate to kind of stop Santorin from getting blown up or CC'd down in a combo. Really like that. That was heads-up play from both of them.
Also 30 seconds left to collect the plate gold, so WildTurtle gonna strip what health he can from the turret. Same in mid there for POB. 1v2 right now, but Turtle feeling just fine. Pobelter not feeling so hot. PowerOfEvil flashing that
Auto
W.
down.
There's
Give him
the
the
heal
Nexus.
down. Needs a little bit more damage. Last auto, not enough.
Oh. The fact that he had the movement speed increase from the heal as well helped him get out of range from another auto. So if it was PowerOfEvil rocking anything besides a barrier, probably would have resulted in a kill there. But Pobelter still had his flash available too, so he'll be able to make a play on PowerOfEvil in return if he's able to get an ultimate off.
He actually read the base there as well and stayed, so now he might finish off the turret.
I mean, he's done that twice now.
Very sneaky from Pobelter. Does actually claim first turret gold for himself, and a crucial one in mid there as well.
He's done that multiple times here where POB goes, or I'm going to stay in this lane, and POE says, well, I'm going to back because I think that you've backed. And honestly, it's resulted in a lot of plates for him in that first turret too.
7 plates to 2. Over 1,000 gold for FlyQuest. Basically, most of their lead that we saw after that first blood kill was in those turret plates. Now, of course, up a bit more because they finished off the structure. Looking at about 2,000 gold ahead for FlyQuest here in this mid game.
Oh!
Couldn't even steal the Gromp. Santorin calculating there as Stixxay wasn't quite able to finish it off with True Shot Barrage. And again, action around the Rift Turret, which is still up for the taking. JayJ continuing to roam up here alongside Biofrost as Viper finishes off that Scuttle Crab. And Santorin is busy leashing blue for Pobelter.
Yeah, but right now there's also a lane swap too from CLG. They've put Stixxay on the top side and Biofrost to try and make sure that they can get a Rift Herald or even just pressure there. And they've given up the bottom turret to do so. So in this time that WildTurtle is going to back and buy and run to the top side of the map and swap, there really hasn't been anything done for CLG except losing that bottom turret.
Viper going to go back now and move his way over. Good stun onto Wiggily. Q-Lance from Santorin. Biofrost with a great devour. But maybe now he'll be the one in trouble. Gets tagged up. TP from CLG going to be matched by Fly. And there's JayJ with the ulti. Needs to hop away. Forced to burn the flash. They'll go back in. Wiggily is so low, but the ulti keeps him alive for just a touch longer. Viper now resurrected after the shockwave by PowerOfEvil. And no one miraculously dead in that exchange.
So close for Wiggily. He lived with a sliver of HP there after the kick from Santorin. And he just gets pushed right out, and he just walks away, and oh, nobody. Almost got Viper too on the bottom side, but it wouldn't have been enough to kill him either.
You can see Viper is also walking back over there. Actually burnt the, did TP in. Now on cooldown, so back towards bot lane for him. As you mentioned, things are swapped up. And still that Rift Herald ready to go. 3-ish more minutes for teams to try and take it. Does feel like the objective is pretty squarely in both sides' minds, but FlyQuest with that gold lead, and it just feels like a bit better map pressure so far.
Well, you know what's funny is it's always hard to measure the value of Ocean Drakes, but if you think about even just the way that Pobelter got shoved out of mid lane by PowerOfEvil, and then PowerOfEvil had to back and Pobelter didn't, Ocean Drake is the answer. The fact that they have 2 Ocean Drakes kept them in lanes during this extended laning phase and allowed FlyQuest to not have to back after these fights, right? Viper just goes straight down bottom lane. We see that Pobelter, he's able to return to mid even multiple times, just off of the first one too. So the Ocean Drake has actually given FlyQuest a lot of map presence and made it so they don't have to back as frequently, and they're more likely to shove their opponent out of lane and stay, and then get a better back timer off themselves.
Also, Rift Herald is being started by Santorin. FlyQuest with more people here right now, and no TP for Darshan, and him not moving means that I think CLG are forced to give this up. Santorin going to collect it, and we'll see if they ride straight top lane to try and take the final outer turret.
And for FlyQuest, name of the game right now is early game with WildTurtle, trying to get Santorin going too on this Lee Sin. And for CLG, it looks like it's going to be wait, scale. Our Zhao didn't pop off early game, so they're waiting for multiple tier items to come through for Stixxay, for PowerOfEvil's Orianna to synergize with Wiggily later, and for Darshan to scale up and just get kind of that infinite stacking HP on the Sion. So the late game would bode well for CLG, but the early game is definitely in favor of FlyQuest right now.
That does feel like a really good test for FlyQuest, actually, whose earlier victories were comebacks.
See if they can close before they get rubber banded on by CLG's comp.
Well, see if the training has paid off. Invert has mentioned they've been looking to shore that up. Viper going to start off this crab, as he does have the wave in bot lane, pushing back towards Darshan and the Sion. It's also a Cloud Drake up for grabs in 30 seconds, and Baron will spawn for the first time in 1 minute 30, with Turtle having 2 items. Pobelter likely very close. Is Morello Nomicon, but does have Sork Shoes plus Oblivion Orb for a lot of current power. I think FlyQuest will be happy to take any sort of even exchange.
Yeah, it's actually a big spike there for Pobelter, who didn't even have to go for something like Merc Treads and PowerOfEvil did. So he's got those 2 penetration items. He's got the cooldown reduction in the AP that he needs. This is basically where mages spike incredibly hard for the rest of the game in terms of if you run into anybody, you'll probably be able to blow them up right now. The Ezreal is going to need the Kench next to him, especially since he doesn't have any magic resistance at this point in the game. And so if you're Stixxay, you're holding close to Biofrost right now.
I like this trade actually from Wiggily, because this Rift Herald in top lane was basically an eventuality.
Wait, is Turtle going to try to get... He's going to try to get it. Oh. He's going to try to snipe it across the map, too.
No luck, unfortunately, but still a good turret take there for FlyQuest, as Wiggily does get Cloud Drake for his side. FlyQuest still up 4,500 gold, but this is really where CLG say, okay, some of these losses we're not happy with. That Rift Herald tower loss was pretty much expected.
Yeah, when you're looking to scale, you have to give up stuff in the early game. If you contest it, you actually get further behind because you'll lose the fight, or you're more likely to lose the fight. Sure, you might launch yourself into the game and be like, wow, this guy is really fed and he's supposed to scale, so he turns on earlier. But if it's inevitability that he turns on, just avoid the fights, give up the objectives, let the enemy have what they can, or what they want at that point in the game. Just don't give up too much. Know when to contest and when to trade.
And I think we're at the point now where CLG is kind of done giving stuff up, right?
Yeah.
Trades certainly looking good. If they can find opportunities, say with PowerOfEvil here and his Shockwave, then they can really turn around some fights and get some gold back. It is FlyQuest that will be in charge for at least 10 minutes from this point onward. But I think CLG are at a point where they can at least look to make something happen and react a bit more aggressively to what FlyQuest are looking to do here on the map. Wiggily, they're going to slap down a ward. Baron is on the brains of both these teams.
And all it would take was pretty much one team fight at this point in the game. Especially around Baron, it would get CLG some bounties if they're able to shut down any of these 3 people on FlyQuest who have accumulated 500 gold bounties with no kills to their name.
Blue buff here again, leaped by a teammate, Pobelter. Just missing that stun there on the golem, but still able to collect it nice and handily. And Turtle continuing to grow in strength here as well. BT plus rapid fire cannon already completed. So shove out these waves and really does want to try and find a cash in.
Yeah, he's running around with a ton of stacks on him. What's the League of Draven at right now? Looks like 550.
Greatly adored. And has not got the satisfaction of all that juicy bonus gold. Looks like Stixxay Bio might be in a small spot of bother. Ward though will find the FlyQuest duo. Santorin and Pobelter going to move back in towards this Baron area and maintain their vision supremacy.
And CLG are kind of doing what they were doing before, where they don't do a whole lot during this middle part of the game. It's just kind of avoiding things, setting up for, can we make a play? Will we make a play? And with this composition in particular, that does help them out, because if a slow game is what's bound to happen, the Ezreal getting his 2-tier items, his Iceborne Gauntlet, and then the Gunblade is very popular now on top of it, then he'll be doing a lot of poke damage, and they'll have the extra magic damage from PoE on top of it later.
See Wiggily also keen to get something started if there's an isolated target. JayJ took some damage, but
You don't win this fight.
bounced back towards his teammates. Viper again just trying to kite it out. Does juke the first Q. Kane's going to pull back, finds the knockup, but Darshan just way too tanky.
Oh!
A knockup trade. But again, that W from Darshan, more than enough damage, and Viper's like, okay, guess I'll back up.
Yeah, I mean, you're standing next to him. He's getting some Sunfire periodic damage the whole time. He's got so much HP, and it just gets worse from there. And also, now he's getting the Youmuu's Ghostblade for himself on Viper's side.
How safe this is here for Viper. Does do a nice job training him back, clearing up the wave at the same time. Darshan again needs to try to buy some time. Still the cannon picked up though, so Viper will be happy with that gold, but that does give CLG some room here after FlyQuest went towards the Baron area to at least get some poke in onto the mid turret.
I was just looking at it, I was like, I thought Darshan would have Demolish, but no, I think he has Shield Bash instead, which makes sense for the Sion. The extra resistances and making it so you can keep the shield on longer. I like that. It's pretty common, I believe. But a lot of people love plates early, and he knew he wasn't going to get an advantage in that lane in terms of shove. And here's the TPs. Here's the play.
Pobelter 1v4 right now. Oh, there's Viper also going to make it a 2v4, but needs to buy some time for the rest of the squad. Pobelter going to flash away. Unstoppable Darshan doesn't quite grab it, but there's a great shockwave. He's going to find the Syndra, who will be shut down. Now Viper also with a bounty, ready to be collected as Wiggily caught out on the other side of the fight. Gonna pop his stopwatch and try and buy more time. Viper will die. but Wiggily will be forfeit as well as WildTurtle finally cashes in.
That was a huge cash in for him too. That was multiple shutdowns, both PoE, both going to PoE, the 500 from Syndra, the 500 from Aatrox, and then WildTurtle getting a 1,193 cash in on top of his 300 from it. So that was 1,493.
Nice to see the carriers get that goal, but Pobelter a little too far forward here.
Yeah. Pobelter a little too far forward, and then he backs up a tiny bit there, looking like he's trying to juke. And it puts him just a tiny bit too far, and then he walks back and gets Shockwave there from PoE flashing and trying to catch him. And on the bottom side, Wiggly's looking to collapse, and this is where it's going to go from bad to worse, where FlyQuest will get this shut down, and look at this juicy gold come in. 300, boom. 1493.
Like he's built his own bounty system. WildTurtle.
And his bounty doesn't go up for doing that either.
That's true. Still sitting at 500 gold. The other two bounties were claimed, as you mentioned, by PowerOfEvil. So there's two central carries to the teams. Have an influx of gold here as Santorin is trying to give this Cloud Drake over to his side. Darshan, I think so, yeah. Drake will go over. Darshan looking for a big old flank though. Doesn't grab the knock-up. Now Darshan a little too far forward. Shockwave is going to clip JayJ, who will fall. And now Turtle has to run, finds the blast cone out to safety.
The fact that it wasn't a knock-up was big, because it would have been knock-up into knock-up from the ultimate again, and then he would have been able to potentially combo with his teammates. But now they're still going to get priority on mid, and because Stixxay now has some decent damage and the W from Ezreal, they'll take that turret right quick.
Yeah, still about 4,500 gold ahead for FlyQuest, but CLG will get a turret, open up the map a little bit more for themselves, and as they scale, certainly in a better position to take over where their comp really wanted to here towards the end of the mid game and of course the late game. It does not mean FlyQuest don't have avenues to fight when that point hits, but with any luck, they'd like to take the lead they have right now and snowball the game.
Yeah, especially the one that WildTurtle has. Now he's sitting on 3 items, has the Infinity Edge already, so he's sitting at that 60% crit. And with the Conqueror, it'll allow him to team fight for a tiny bit up against the Sion. And has a nice crit coming in for over 300 damage there.
You see Stixxay will not last long in any sort of 1v1. FlyQuest, again, continuing to use their advantage and gonna sweep out vision around the Baron. Pobelter approaching level 16. Dings 15 as he takes blue buff for another time. Santorin there with that control ward as they look to push their vision deeper into the jungle.
It's funny to think about too, because CLG, they brought on PowerOfEvil and like, we need to carry from the mid lane. He's got all 4 kills. This is the game that PowerOfEvil has the potential to carry on this Orianna with all of the kills to his name, and the fact that he's up against this team where he will scale really well into the late game versus. So you're looking at the newest guy for CLG besides their jungler Wiggily, who actually, no, I guess it's still true that PoE is the newest guy to it. Wiggily was already with them last split for a tiny bit. But yeah, this is where PoE, new guy, needs to step into those carry shoes that everybody knows him for back on Misfits days, even before that.
Viper is forced to go back down to the bot side as Darshan was threatening the turret. But of course, the eternal quest for that first Baron continues as the teams will dance back and forth. This time it's CLG that have the vision.
And it's a very delicate dance too, because if FlyQuest mess it up, CLG are completely in the game. And if CLG mess this up, then FlyQuest will just snowball too hard for them to potentially stop. So nobody really wants to take that risk just yet. They want to kind of secure more things around it, potentially that top turret for CLG to make them more comfortable, but now they're getting all this vision and taking over the jungle.
Yeah, Darshan was spotted, so no flank there for the Sion to try and start a fight here in mid lane, but FlyQuest will push the minions back here in mid, playing very carefully around the Baron. Viper takes down the Crab for a bit of right side vision. And it looks like FlyQuest read is good. CLG have all backed off to spend their gold as PowerOfEvil is very close to his death cap. But again, that does give FlyQuest the window to now have their turn at taking the vision back over the Baron pit.
Yeah, and oh, JayJ caught out by PowerOfEvil here. If PowerOfEvil keeps going, it gets too greedy. Santorin might go on it.
Great stand behind me, though, gets him out of there. PowerOfEvil, though, pretty low cooldown at this point on the Shockwave, so happy to commit it to try and get a free kill.
That's a 76 seconds there, so just over a minute. He'll be back up by the time he walks back out on the map, and will be there for a tiny bit. Now he has the death cap, though. So the carry potential fully online.
I think JayJ can no longer face check the Orianna, because he's been very forward with his quest to scout and get vision, but think the next quest he goes on will get himself killed.
Yeah, the Braum, though, it's usually pretty safe. It's like a...
You say that until
Yeah,
you get one shot.
That's true. But he does have the shield, which will absorb 100% of the next thing that hits him. So if it's just one person, he'll be okay. But yeah, you walk into a dark forest and there's more people there, yeah.
Well, again, PowerOfEvil will be fishing for level 16. POB also in the same camp, would love to have rank 3 on the ulti. Stun gonna miss, and PowerOfEvil almost fancy something as Darshan with a very fancy flank. Gonna get himself knocked up by JayJ. Bio Abyssal Voyages under the turret to try and start something. CLG with a creative tower dive, but it does not pay off.
And Darshan actually read that Pobelter was going to flash to the other side of him, started the charge up of the Q, and would have landed a follow-up knock-up if JayJ didn't buffer his ultimate and stop Darshan. So that was actually really big, because Darshan had the read, but JayJ had the interrupt.
And CLG's attempt does do a little bit of damage here to the turret in mid, but again, gonna have to go back, reset, and time to place more wards around the Baron pit, although there is a Cloud Drake up in 15 seconds as well that teams can look for if they're getting tired of the Baron dance at this stage. 30 minutes in, game still pretty even, although FlyQuest holding that lead. Haven't really extended it though, which I think is maybe the start of those warning bells going off.
It's funny to think about because FlyQuest, their comebacks were off of the enemy engaging onto them and them having TP flanks, them making team fight plays, and if CLG are behind, and they're the ones who are going to be making plays, they're not the team that's going to dive into you. They're defensive. They have the poke of the Ezreal. They have the Tahm Kench for safety. They might make some plays like Darshan was just doing, but they aren't going to be of the same force of sieging your turret, pushing you down, and then you get to flank from behind. It's not going to be that same type of fight. So FlyQuest need to find ways to close this game out without relying on CLG to be the one to do it or pull the trigger.
And you can see Stixxay does have that second tier building up. Should have the transform soon enough, as he did take the Cloud Drake for his team as well. FlyQuest now the ones with that vision, camping around the Baron pit. FlyQuest being patient, hoping someone does a silly face check, but CLG no better than that at this point. You have 2 blue trinkets as well between their mid and ADC. So plenty of easy ways to check without finding yourself on the wrong end of a Syndra stun.
Yeah, I like that they have 2 of them. Sometimes you have the 1, and the mid laner takes sweeper, but the Orianna doesn't need it. It's not an assassin, and you just need to be able to check these areas and worry about not being caught out by a Lee Sin or even a Syndra stun. So the pick composition that is kind of formulated for FlyQuest, they're trying to avoid that at all costs.
Has been a really back and forth 5 to 10 minutes, honestly, around this objective. But I think now with WildTurtle having item number 4 as he just finishes Guardian Angel, FlyQuest have done enough dancing. It's time to take the fight outside the pit and look to kind of break open the game that way, because I think the threat of CLG being happy to play this patient game is very real.
Right now, CLG are the ones who have the control of the Baron. They have Darshan roaming up with the priority from bottom. They want to make a play with him before anything happens. They're actually going to start this Baron. They're going to start this most likely. Darshan is mid. They're going to try to either get the TP from Viper and then reset and then try to make a play that way, but they're going to start this 100%.
And Fly's 1 blue trinket is currently down. There's a quick TP though from FlyQuest.
And they're just like, pretend nothing happened. Go on Viper. Now try to get out.
Fight's going to start. JayJ looking for the ulti. Finds only Wiggily, who will be devoured by Biofrost. Stun onto Darshan. Blocked there on the True Shot Barrage by JayJ, but that's fight done.
Yep, mid lane priority does go over to FlyQuest. CLG will wrap around, but there's nothing for them to lose on the bottom side. They may take some turret damage in the mid lane, depending on how Pobelter plays. If he gets the stun, no, they're going to be able to walk around. And can they save this turret? Because if they can, that's a win for CLG, because they got the TP.
Not enough to quite claim it, though, and Darshan is threatening with the ulti. But again, no need to commit just yet.
Yeah, he wants to help his team get mid lane priority and then reset and go to the bottom side of the map.
Throw stun on a carry also will go a long way here, but here we end Stixxay playing safe.
So help them push mid as 5, go to the Baron area again, sweep it, reset the wards, make sure it's your teams, and then you can go back down bottom, push, get a turret, and threaten TP plays, and put Viper in a tough situation. So CLG started the Baron just for that summoner spell and to get out.
We'll see if they can capitalize now. Also, Elder Dragon will be coming up in a number of minutes. Not there just yet, but that will be another tool to potentially break the stalemate here.
And you can see how difficult that decision was for Viper. It was like, does he go bottom? Where's he go? And they actually spot that ward right there. spots Darshan on the top side. So they say they thought Darshan's going to go back and reset, but he's not. And that ward helps him out so much.
Turtle's blue trinket also confirms that the Baron has in fact been started, so CLG will pull away, if only briefly, as they'll now start it once again. But FlyQuest have enough room in mid to push through here.
That is a super pesky ward that has not been swept out. I believe that both sweepers are available for CLG, and they just haven't thrown it down in that area. Yeah, they both are available.
Teams continue to play safe here, though. As FlyQuest walk back in, take down the control ward, and will force CLG to readjust around the map. And again, that stalemate breaker I talked about, the Elder Dragon, is up in a minute. So all of a sudden the choices get a lot more difficult for either side, as FlyQuest looking to stay on the map just a touch longer and knock down another turret if they can.
Yeah, they'll get this mid turret because there isn't wave clear here. Nothing present. PowerOfEvil was on the top side there, and now Darshan's going to once again come mid. He's just grouping up for this now. Can't find opportunities to go bottom. That turret is pretty low. He'd be able to take it and threaten, but it's mid priority. The tank has to lead the charge. What's he got now? He's got so much HP. Running around with 4.7 thousand. He's got, his W has given him 1,400 bonus HP.
You can see again.
Disgusting.
That is. As Darshan, as you mentioned, really a captain for this team in many ways. CLG looking to once again start the Baron. Another pesky wall, this time on the left side.
Oh, Santorin?
Santorin charges in, looks for PowerOfEvil. But a good devour by Biofrost shuts it all down. No slows landing, knock up onto Santorin by Darshan. Will maybe force some action. Also the minions in bot side for CLG do give them yet another turret.
Yep, Pobelter on the right side. He's going to stop them from walking through there. Oh, that didn't actually clip Stixxay. So he didn't get the stun off, and now that mid priority goes over to them. Elder Dragon is live now, so you can push, make them clear those minions, and then have to come to you on the bottom side. So even if you don't have vision of that top side, which FlyQuest don't, so they'd have to spend time sweeping and going through that area and clearing control boards, they're instead just going to go to the Elder Dragon, and they have 3 Drakes to their name.
Elder Dragon not that tanky, and Draven stands.
Watch Viper on the side. Viper looking for a flank.
Very important. Ball's going to spot him, but it might be too late. World Ender pot. They're going to go for it now. FlyQuest looking for that team fight, but Darshan shuts it all down. Drake is low, but still quite a lot of health to go before anyone can really take it, and it will reset.
And that's inside track to mid for CLG, but they have to make sure this fully resets.
Two-shot barrage looking to, again, poke some people off, get a little bit of vision.
They want to pull all the way back. And when you're the team that's on the left side of this fight, you're actually in an advantageous position. Stixxay can go clear mid-wave, push it. Even throwing a Q will help it shove, and then threaten that tier 2 turret. So if everything stays as it is now and nobody fights, CLG are actually in the position to pivot from here and either threaten a structure or go for the Baron.
FlyQuest heavily committing to taking this objective, though. I think it's reset 3 times since it's been on the screen, but it now will reset all the way back to full. FlyQuest finally realize they have to pull away.
Yeah, and you can see they have to loop from the right side all the way back behind. The minion wave does reach their tier 2 turret for a tiny bit and get some of its HP. They have to come through mid, and then they have to try to force CLG to go to one of the objectives and then have the inside track. It's just this positioning dance back and forth.
And I will say, you know, for as patient as a game it's been for CLG, it does seem pretty disciplined from them, knowing, again, we picked this comp to scale. We picked this comp because we're happy to take a few losses, and they are willing to go on the Baron.
They must have timed Viper's TP. He showed bottom lane. There's only a few seconds before it's up. They knew he doesn't have it for like 20 more seconds.
Draven, though, is going to see what's going on. Without the blue trinket, had to commit the ulti, but I don't think they've got enough time to get in there, and that will be CLG just waltzing back into the Baron pit to take it. FlyQuest, though, looking to trade away the Elder Dragon, which they should be able to get. So I said that these objectives would break the stalemate. Unfortunately, we're going to trade and stay very even.
Yep, but remember the Elder Dragon, the first Elder Dragon does not last that long in comparison to it. It's a bit longer, but there's a minute where you don't have it here versus that Baron. So I like that play from CLG because they get a lot of gold from it. I believe it's worth more to get the Baron than it is to get the Elder Dragon. You have to get more off of that. And then the shoving of the waves is very important too. And remember, Baron buff at 20 minutes, very different now in terms of the resistances that it gives minions. It has to scale up through game time, but we're already at almost the 40-minute mark here for the Baron.
It has been a very elongated game between the two teams. This Turtle is going to try and clear out the Baron-empowered minions. He's a full build as well. Can trade out the boots if he wishes, but not going to get much stronger at this point. both sides try and find a way to just break open the map or a team fight. FlyQuest, we expect them to have the kind of level of coordination that we've seen in their first 2 games, but their comp isn't quite as straightforward, let's say, as CLG's.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to put it, because straightforwardness in compositions is like clear go buttons, clear get in there, the Galio ultimate to kind of back people up, the Camille ultimate, this is your target, Sejuani, same thing. It's a little harder to navigate the fights and make something very quickly happen. Not easy to execute either, in terms of having a Lee Sin or an Aatrox run at you and make a play happen. Even the Braum, it's like you really have kind of keep away, engage. It's really interesting. You're kind of using like disengage as engage.
See the big chunk from True Shot Barrage there onto Pobelter. He'll just walk back away as the map once again resets. I do say I like the plan from CLG, like at a philosophical level. Give your big voice, your captain, the go start all the fights champion in Sion. Give your carries their comfortable carry champions that you know they can pilot well, and just play simply. CLG, I think, have realized there's nothing we need to rush here in this game. And at some point, I almost feel like if I'm FlyQuest, I've been, 4,000 or 5,000 gold ahead this entire game. I'm starting to get frustrated. My Draven cashed in, and the game's still going at 40 minutes.
He cashed in, but they weren't able to do anything about it. And now, his Baron power play actually almost even here, but they still have a minute to go. Yeah, you can just see it's going to crest over and be a negative Baron power play here because the minion waves, and Viper on the side is picking all of that gold up by himself.
Does feel like the game, despite that goal difference still existing, has effectively equalized between the 2 teams. Elder Dragon will wear off. Baron will be off in about 50 seconds, and we'll look to play for Baron 2. And of course, you mentioned the first Elder, not that great. The second Elder, though, that's a good one to get.
And remember, it comes up even sooner now, too. You don't have to wait that, was it 10 minutes before? Something ridiculous. I don't even remember. I erased it from my brain because it was so long.
Well, FlyQuest just transitioned from mid to bot side, looking to try and take the easiest turret, I suppose, left to take. But not so easy with PowerOfEvil here, wave clearing away, and Darshan
He's
throwing
tank.
everyone away.
He's a big boy.
Still has Stone Plate, by the way.
Yep.
Didn't need to pop it just for a little bit of poke. And of course, Warmogs will tick him back up to full health.
And he's got almost 5,000 HP. He's at 4874. So they're about 130 away from that. And the 5K mark, that is where you really cash in against this team that doesn't have a true tank for themselves, which is something interesting when I was looking at Stixxay's build, where Stixxay has the Blade of the Ruined King and not the Gunblade. When the Gunblade is more favorable against squishy targets, the AP and AD really go into Ezreal's ratio on pretty much all of his abilities have, I believe, AD and AP ratios. That'd be very favorable for him, but he goes for the Blade of the Ruined King, which is better against tanks, and they don't really have one.
Viper forced to flash away. Good shockwave there from PoE, who rode in on the Abyssal Voyage by Biofrost. Will resurrect, he'll dash over the wall. World Ender did not time out, so now FlyQuest here to try and save their boy. He gets knocked up, he gets shut down. And that's a long 5v4 for CLG.
They had to kill him 3 times. That was World Ender into Guardian Angel into finally dead. So that's a first kill for CLG in a long while here.
Thankfully for Viper, despite the minute-long death timer, the big buffs aren't up for a minute 30 or so. CLG, though, comfortably able to pressure here. They will take the tier 2 in mid.
And we started talking about this 20 minutes ago, Pastry, where CLG's composition is just going to outscale. Darshan will get infinitely tanky, and then they have multiple damage sources that are very reliable. The Draven falls off, the Syndra up against this big, beefy Sion. It's like not going to be able to do much.
That's
CLG trying to win.
Looking for Turtle, but not going to grab it. Will at least get the Summoner spell as CLG charge down mid to take the inhib. Viper back up in 10 seconds, but CLG up towards the Baron area.
And there's still a minute on both of those objectives here. CLG, though, getting that inhibitor. Remember, they were actually walking back and forth, trying to get that tier 2 turret in mid lane, trying to get mid priority and struggling back and forth. And even though they were behind, it was going back and forth between that. I actually think that the game is even right now. From my standpoint, I believe it's even. The gold at the top is going to lie to you. It's going to come down to CLG has more priority mid now because of just the super minions pushing, and they have its infinite scaling, where I would say the gold value of what the Sion has is going to be worth about, I would even say like 3,000 gold itself. I'd have to do the math on it. It's crazy how much he's actually getting out of this.
Well, things are going to get tense, though, as Baron is going to spawn up in about 10 seconds, and Elder Drake up in 20. FlyQuest right now leaning left side.
Well, the thing is, remember, FlyQuest got the first Elder. So getting the second Elder is more important for them, which means CLG might be more important for them to prevent a second Elder too. Here's the TP coming in from Stixxay, who backed, completed his Lord Dominic's, and look for Viper. Viper's going to try to flank here.
Got spotted already, and Darshan again going to play keep away. He's going to force Viper away from the team fight. Run him down, pops the ulti, actually really committing to forcing Viper away. Now FlyQuest might be able to wrap around and help the rest of their team. Darshan, though, will be devoured and saved by Biofrost.
Stixxay. Ooh. Almost had a Q land on him there. And they're going to go rotate to the Elder Dragon. They're going to try to 2-3-man this. And then Darshan and PowerOfEvil are going to stop the left side of this map and control the mid wave too. So Darshan's going to just be a bodyguard. He's like, nope, that's as far as you go.
Pretty big bodyguard. I'd be afraid as well. CLG actually find 4 here on the objective.
They see it.
Santorin needs to get in the area, quick smite, and cannot, as the smite is true from Wiggily, and CLG will get their first Elder.
CLG, even though being down in gold for the entire game, they actually have an advantage here with that Elder Dragon, with the composition that they have. And the fact that the gold was so close for so long, it means less and less as time goes on.
And this is going to be a Baron speedrun with this Elder ticking away. CLG also have 2 drakes for themselves, so it's not the worst Elder Dragon they could have asked for. And I just don't think that FlyQuest can get in here.
Oh! That wasn't even stolen by Smite either. That was just PowerOfEvil securing that himself.
Yeah, Wiggily has Smite still. This Turtle gets the red buff and almost finds the steal, but CLG now all the power in their hands. Just looking to put the finishing touches on the base.
For FlyQuest, it's tragic. They had the early lead. They had the early game composition. This team is 2-0 right now because they've had comebacks, but because they got a lead, CLG didn't force anything on them. FlyQuest were like, well, you should be coming at us, right? They weren't doing the objectives. They weren't forcing the plays. And now CLG, with their patience, now it's almost a 2K gold disadvantage, and that's it. Basically washed away.
So always be careful what you wish for, Zyrene. Invert asked for a better early game, and
He got it.
But
It's the monkey paw.
But he didn't get the other part.
It's the turtle paw, man. He just, oh, you asked for it. Oh, well, unlucky.
Darshan stunned up, pops the stone plate though. So, oh no, not even. It looked like it, but
Viper in the back.
just stunned up. Viper gonna try and dive in the backside. It's FlyQuest trying to ride in and make something happen, but Darshan again keeps everybody out. Biofrost pretty tanky with his shield on, but CLG happy to just keep taking down these structures. FlyQuest running out of options as CLG ransack their base.
It has been so long since a fight or a kill has even happened here, and everybody kind of walks away. It's just these resets. The tanks for CLG able to be tanky enough to just absorb all of the damage, and it gets so hard because the damage from FlyQuest was one that would fall off. The Draven's going to be able to do some, but it's not going to be enough here. FlyQuest are struggling in this game.
Yep, Baron's still up for 2 minutes as well. As Darshan, I believe, TP down to this bot side of the map to get the push going early. Put some wards down as well. As the rest of his team will join in. Bishop Barrage just to take a tour of the area.
I feel like the way that FlyQuest can win this is if they can find Stixxay. Stixxay has to stay safe, but he also has Biofrost assisting him. If he gets caught, Pobelter's ultimate would be the death sentence there.
As you mentioned though, much easier said than done.
Oh, much easier said than done because, like I said, he's just going to get picked up by Biofrost. It's not going to stick. And even Stixxay knows that because he didn't go for having the Guardian Angel, which is a typical 4th item, 5th item for most marksmen.
Darshan continuing to just...
Yeah, they can just dance here. They can literally just dance here. Darshan has so many health bars, they're going to start all... It's going to just look like it's completely black later because all the bars are going to be squished together. He's over 5,000 at this point. What's he at? He's at 5,700. He's almost at 6,000. Wait, keep the game going, guys. We're almost there.
I was going to ask earlier, I don't know if it's possible to know this, and I certainly don't know, but I wonder what the most amount of health a Sion has got in a game has been, because Darshan is certainly making a stake, taking a claim to the record as Tower falls here in bot side. Again, exposing the inhib. Darshan gonna get stunned up. This time pops the stone plate, but a good stun there on the backside of Viper. He's gonna dive in onto the carries. Good ult there from JayJ. Darshan flashing in to try and protect his team. FlyQuest need to find a kill on one of these carries. Darshan gonna get stunned up. The ult put there by Syndra, but Stixxay gonna blow up Syndra with the help of PowerOfEvil. And now the Resurrect comes in. Unstoppable as PowerOfEvil slays the Lee Sin. CLG finally found a way to break the game open as Stixxay charges forward with the Arcane Shift. Viper will get resurrected one more time, but only to watch his base crumble. CLG, they fought forever, but their patience pays off as they will take down the Nexus and finally pick themselves up a win here in the 2019 LCS.
That's a big sigh of relief. They were just swapping people in and out, and they use Darshan and Wiggily, and they find the result they were looking for with that win on the board.
You know, we said that CLG looked very scattered in their first week of play, changing players out, looking a little lost on the Rift. We did say that, you know, something had to happen. I think this shift is just something simple, effective, not thrilling to watch at all times, let's say, but the let Stixxay scale strategy has been in the playbook for CLG for quite a while, and this game it certainly did work.
Yeah, it absolutely worked for them. And we were talking before is CLG kept trying to make these plays happen over and over again in their previous games with Fallen Bandit, Wiggily, even Moon and Darshan when they were playing with them, and they weren't working out. Here, they opted into just macro play it slow, force FlyQuest to be the ones to make things happen. So FlyQuest have a lot to look at in terms of pushing an advantage they get instead of playing from behind, and CLG get to kind of celebrate the fact that they were able to hang on, scale, and play it slow, which is something that when a team is coming together and trying to put a new mid laner in and get the styles aligned, it's all you can ask for.
I have to think so. FlyQuest, certainly a disappointing loss. You can see JayJ there on your screen. 2-1 now for FlyQuest. Certainly still can enjoy their strong start to the season, but CLG, anytime you look down the barrel of 0-3-0-4, it's a bad time. So CLG will be happy to pick up a win early in week 2 and see if they can continue kind of what they've built from here.
Yeah, and I like this combination of Darshan and Wiggily. I think that Darshan is going to be a voice that they can use, and Wiggily is a person who has an aggressive jungle tendency, but also he's somebody who I think has a lot of potential for LCS play.
Well, with all that, for more on this team's victory, Ovely is standing by with CLG's mid laner.
Thank you, Pastry. PowerOfEvil, congratulations on the win. This is the first win for CLG this year, so how important was it for the team to go home with a victory?
Well, this game was incredibly slow, so it was so stressful for everyone in the game. I think the game went to like 50 minutes something. So I don't know, it was just like the comms in late game, everyone is screaming, there's just complete chaos. That was fun.
So then what was the win moment like for you?
Well, the win moment was on bot lane that I think I get the shockwave onto the Syndra since he flashed forward, and Lee Sin like jumps onto me and I'm just screaming, eat me, and I'm like getting like a heart attack, and luckily Vincent saw the Q swap of Lee Sin and eats me instantly, so I think we played the last team fight really, really well. I would say the only shock moment was the Baron that we didn't plan with the Draven ultimate, and I don't know if you guys saw it, but like Rage is like getting like a shock in that moment, but we got the Baron, so lucky for us.
And you were the one who ended up securing it. But I want to draw attention to you. This is also your first win since joining CLG. What made you want to join this team?
Well, so Stixxay and Darshan, even Vincent, they already won splits, and I think they all have really good experience. Played a lot of like in really great teams, went to Worlds, so I think it's more like a veteran team. And with Ray, I see him kind of like a blabberfish, where we can make him to a really, really good jungler, and he just needs more experience. I think we're already having really good synergy together. We're doing really good plays 2v2. We still mess up some things, but I think this just comes by time and by playing more LCS games, getting more stage experience. I think Irene is insanely good and smart coach, and I think the future is really bright.
You mentioned Irene, and just really quick, I want to ask you, how is it having Weldon as your guys' head coach?
Weldon is helping us a lot of like, Irene is strategic more, and Weldon is helping us more like on the mental side and trying to stay focused, getting the scrims in a better shape. We're having meetings, meditating a little bit as well. So I think the balance between them is really, really good for us.
Well, PoE, thank you, and congratulations again. And for more on the game, let's hear from the State Farm Analyst Desk.
Thank you very much, Ovely. Bit of a slow cooker there between CLG and FlyQuest.
You got a defibrillator? I got to wake up.
I know, right? There was definitely a lull there in the middle of the game, but I think that was in large part due to the compositions and the way that these two teams ultimately match up. For FlyQuest, a lot of indexing towards that early game power, hoping to get ahead and snowball that into a victory. For CLG, it's just sit pretty. As long as we're not too far behind post 25 minutes, we can front-to-back team fight like no other.
And it's so funny, too, because like FlyQuest week 1, we're praising for their late game team fighting, their nice comps with lots of CC, and then they just take like the most early game comp ever, which is not what you're strong at, and then they do well in the early game, but then they can't close out. So it was funny hearing the coach say, like, we walked a lot on our early game because we thought it was bad, and it's like, well, you lost your late game along the way.
Yeah.
So they have a pretty strong early game comp, right? Like, they have strong lanes top, mid, and bottom, but then as the game progresses, you look at both teams are a team fight comp, right? But would you rather have an Aatrox leading the way or a Sion leading the way? And it's just like, how does FlyQuest win that game the later it goes on? Sion has like, what, 6,000 HP at the end of the game?
At the end, yeah.
Aatrox had like 2,500, something like that. It's just
Right,
like,
we're going to eat through that Aatrox a lot faster.
I'm like watching a 600 Draven toss an axe at Sion. His HP bar didn't change. I'm like, huh, if I was an Orianna or something, that'd like do my entire health. But Sion's like, hey, how's it going?
Yeah, plus they last rotation, you know, Lee Sin and Syndra, after already seeing a Tahm Kench, both those are notoriously difficult to play into Tahm Kench come mid to late game. So if they don't run this game over, they have no chance at all.
Right, maybe a bit of stubbornness in the face of that Tahm Kench pick. It almost feels like they wanted to test the early game waters. Hey, if that's what we're weak at, the early season, the early portions of the seasons would be the time to kind of, make stabs at different play styles and see if you can foster another strategy in your playbook. It just didn't work out this time around. I do want to take a look at the gold differentials as you see them on your screen. Again, FlyQuest did mount an early game lead by 20 minutes, up almost 4K gold. It's just a matter of, okay, yeah, how do we start those fights and actually make sure we can then take turrets off the back end?
Right, so they either need to have strong objective control or strong split pushing, but the money wasn't in Aatrox. He wasn't allowed to split push for Sion late game because he didn't win that. So now you just have a straight 5v5, and you can't do objectives either because you don't have good zone control or anything like that, and you don't want that 5v5. So you have no engage, you can't split, you lose the team fight, so they're just running around like, what do we do now?
Right.
So then that's why we had a super slow game, because that entire time FlyQuest was like, how do you win this game? How do you win this game? And maybe the only way is like Lee Sin can get like some super cool flash kick onto Orianna and PoE doesn't see it coming. Something like that.
Yeah, I mean, that's in CLG in the meantime doesn't feel pressured because there was never enough control. And we were talking about their vision the whole game about like what FlyQuest should have been doing better, and they just never had the right vision.
When the later the game goes, to your point, High, kind of the ease of execution for both teams and the way that they fight starts spreading. For CLG, it gets easier and easier and easier. As Sion gets tankier and can absorb more damage, he buys his backline more space. On the flip side, since nobody's getting any tankier, you're asking for more intricate playmates.
So we did find a win condition for FlyQuest. The Lee Sin kick scaling with bonus HP of the target that you kick into others. What they needed to do was kick Darshan into one of the priority targets using Santorin. It's way easier to do that than to try and insect into a Tahm Kench. They didn't do that win condition, though, and that's why they lost the whole game, James.
But this is a perfect example right here. You see CLG just kite back out of the base. That's fine. We'll absorb the damage. We'll absorb the damage as FlyQuest, they're basically throwing everything at the kitchen sink to try and get one kill onto a priority target. It doesn't happen at this point, and it's an easy closeout for CLG. And so with that, I think one thing we got to recognize is CLG picks up their first victory in a week one where it looked it looked disastrous in week one in that 0-2, along with all those roster swaps. Remember what we were hearing, some of the logic behind looking for data points and swapping the top side of the map. Here we have Darshan Wiggily. I think a lot of people were expecting that duo from the get-go.
Right, it's a bit of a question of like, well, what were you really testing in week one? I mean, it's true it's a long season. If you want to take some time, that's going to lead to the betterment of your team long-term, sure, but you arrived at the same conclusion I think everyone probably arrived at, which was Darshan and Wiggily are the best options for your team.
Right, well, it was only 3 games in, and to be fair, if you're trying to do something for the entire year, right, there's also summer split that come into play. So I would say we give them time. They have a new coaching staff. Let's see what they can do. And, they're 1-2. It's not the worst. I've been in a worse position than that before.
Absolutely. For the side of FlyQuest, though, I do want to talk about where this leaves them because they suffer a loss to an 0-2 team after an impressive 2-0 week. So, of course, we'll be tracking them tomorrow to see how they bounce back from this loss. But as well, I wonder, would you condemn FlyQuest if they went towards another early game style composition tomorrow? And if so, what tweaks would you like to see them make around an early style comp that might give you more confidence in how they play it out?
For me, it's less about the fact that they went early game, but like what they picked that into. Like you picked it into a hyper-scaling late game comp for the most part, and you did that while they still had actively tools that were good against your options. Like Tahm, Kench, and Ori are going to negate your kind of burst potential that you want and save people from insects and Syndra ults and all this stuff. And then the Sion's good against your split push. So they didn't, I don't mind early game focus if you have drafted against people who are susceptible to it.
Right, and the thing is, you don't need to just go solely early game or solely
Right.
late game, you know? Like, you don't have to, like, commit all your eggs into one basket. Like, it's fine to pick, like, a Lee Sin and pick, like, a scaling top laner or a scaling mid laner. Just create an easy win condition for your team and do that. It's simple. Like, if you're going to win by team fighting, pick a team for that. If you want to win by split pushing, do that. If you want to win by early game, do a really strong comp for that. Just pick one win condition, make it an easy win condition too, and then just play towards that.
Yeah, FlyQuest, they build the early lead, aren't able to close it out. For CLG, they stick in it and pick up their first win of the split. On the other side of the commercial break, Clutch Gaming and Optic clash to close out the day. We'll see you here in 4.5.
Needs to buy some time for the rest of the squad. Pobelter going to flash away. Unstoppable Darshan doesn't quite grab it, but there's a great shockwave. Did not time out, so now FlyQuest here to try and save their boy. He gets knocked up, he gets shut down.
Can we stay, guys?
Okay, we should stay as long as we can.
I got top.
Okay, fine.
I'm going to cut it.
I got it. Guys, don't worry, I got it.
Yo, we can look.
Slowly, guys, I'm 1 HP, we can lose this. Yo, kill him.
Draven.
Sonya's
Let's go, boys! Woo! CLG, baby!
Yeah, had a pretty big fender bender here.
State Farm's got you covered, Mike.
That's great to hear. Robin?